Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the GSE Virtual Conference 2023. My name is Joris Mertens, and I will be moderating this session of today with the title Mind the Gap, Rethinking Mainframe Talent and Traction in the Skills Crisis. And honestly, I have a very easy job because we have some great speakers for you. And without further ado, I would like to give the word to Mike and Claire, who will be co-presenting this session. And on the background, we have Serena Walker, and she's active in the chat. So if you have any questions or any input you would like to provide, please use the chat. And we will try to answer your questions as soon as possible. Mike and Claire, the floor is yours.
Great, thank you. And thanks everyone for joining this morning. So we'll just get started. A quick introduction to who we are. My name is Claire Connor. I'm a senior solution architect at Insono. I've been with them for about 3 years. Previous to that, I started 10 years ago on the graduate scheme with IBM and did 7 years there before moving over to Insono. Mike?
Thank you, Claire. So good morning, everyone. My name is Mike Panaz. I'm the head of the mainframe strategy for our Insono's European region. A little background about myself. I have supported mainframe my entire career, so going on 37 plus years. Started out in a technical role, so worked as a hands-on keyboard system programmer for the first part and moved into leadership, and I'm currently in a strategic role. So thank you all for joining.
So just a little bit about today's agenda. In relation to attracting talent into the industry, why is mainframe important and why should people choose the mainframe career? Then we're going to go into a little bit of what we do at Insono with the Mainframe Academy program. Then we want to talk about what we think makes that successful and what is needed to make similar programs successful. And then just going to touch on where we see things going in the future. So to start with, why is mainframe important? Why should somebody just coming out of university or college, why should they choose the mainframe over any other part of IT or any other part of business? So some of those items really the mainframe is still critical to businesses and the economy today. So as you can see, 45 of the top 50 banks still rely heavily on the mainframe. 4 of the top 5 airlines, 7 of the top 10 global retailers. And all that shows is it is still a massive powerhouse in IT. The reason that that's important is it can be an exciting place to work still, and it's not going anywhere. I know people have been saying for ages, well, the mainframe's legacy is going away. Well, yeah, but it's still the cornerstone of the global economy today. I mean, 90% of all credit card transactions go through the mainframe. It can't disappear anytime soon. What that means for the employees and the new intake is actually there's a constant need for mainframe skills. You're not going to be joining a career that's got a dead end. Also, there's such a wide range of job opportunities, career development available within the mainframe space. It's not just one singular job, and an individual's career path is never going to be the same as someone else's. I mean, my career path is entirely different to Mike's, who's different from yours. Also, although the aging workforce is a challenge for businesses and organizations today, it actually creates a lot of opportunity for new entrants, as there are gaps within teams that need filling, and there is an appetite for that development of new individuals. Also, as the technology changes and mainframe modernization and integration becomes more front and center of business strategy, actually that creates new roles and opportunities as well. And that can be a really interesting path for new entrants. Mike, anything to add there?
No, I think you're absolutely right. As far as the mainframe is very critical now. It will be for the forever, I believe, and it's constantly evolving. There's new technologies. The industry continues to invest in mainframe platforms, so it is going to create new and exciting opportunities for those that are supporting the mainframe. So it's a great place to have a career.
Yeah, absolutely. And on to that, what it really shows is that there is a huge diversity of job roles and career paths within the mainframe. Now, we understand there's obviously some of the core technical skills, such as ZOS Sysprog, DB2, DBA, storage management. There's also a lot of other roles that really gain value from having a mainframe background. So even things like people management, marketing, the sales word that we absolutely never say at GSE, having mainframe specialist salespeople makes a huge difference. Even things like project management. We know internally that having project managers that are experienced in the mainframe space makes a huge difference to how well those projects succeed. So what this really shows is there's not just one entry point. And also, once you have got that foundation within the mainframe ecosystem, there's a lot of other areas you could move into. Just because you've started in one place doesn't mean you have to spend your whole career doing that. If you start off technical and you feel the need to move into management or leadership or into pre-sales, well, all of those opportunities can be available for you. It's not a singular track of moving into the mainframe. And I think that's really important for new entrants, because they don't want to feel that they're moving into an area that doesn't have those wide options. I mean, what if it doesn't work out? Well, actually, with this many different career paths, and it's obviously on the slide isn't all of them, you're going to be able to find something that suits you. Mike, comments?
Just there's we're talking to those that are entering into the mainframe or in the mainframe, and it really comes down to is where's the interest, where's the where do you feel the most excited to work. So if you're in a technical role, there are just multiple technical roles. You could start out doing ZOS system programming and move into the different technologies. If you really find one of your the teams that you really enjoy working in, there's so much evolution, and things constantly change within that teams. But as you get that foundation, if you feel like they're your career choice, as you get into your career, want to move into other areas, once you have that foundation, it really does breed success and other opportunities. So it really is a very diverse place to work. It's really kind of allows you to find a career path that be able to move into those different areas, and either technical or leadership, or like Claire was saying, some of the more business side of things. So we just really feel like that's a great selling point for those entering into the profession.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we'll move on to what we in Sono are doing. So Mike, go for it.
Yeah, thank you, Claire. So just without reading off the screen, basically, we have a mainframe academy program within Insono that's been in existence now for close to 10 years. And really what it is, designed to do is we needed to build a sustainable program to, bring in and create the new generation of associates that are supporting mainframe. and not only bringing in new associates into the mainframe profession, but also evolve their careers over time. So we need to build that sustainable workforce to be able to support the current requirements and then also evolve over time. So that's really what our purpose and vision is of the program. So next slide, please. So what are the parts and pieces of that we've kind of found, and what does Insono do as far as our Mainframe Academy program? So how do we have a successful program? First of all is global leadership. It really goes without saying. You need to have leadership and support of the program from the top. So we do have our C-level support. We have an SVP, executive sponsor, that is really responsible for the program at that level, and really someone that supports it. We also have leaders. So we have named leaders within Insono. We have a director, and we have leaders that are supporting just the Mainframe Academy program. So I think it's important to have a focus on the program. When we first started out, we tried to have leaders that had all their responsibilities, and we quickly found out that it needs its own focus. So we do have leaders that are focusing on Mainframe Academy. We also need support from other parts of our business. So we really need to have our HR, we call CPE organization involved, recruiting. We want to be able to bring in business and soft skill training, and I'll kind of get into that in just a second, but we do need to have our CPE HR training organization get involved. We also have a cost center, so we have a budget every year. So that budget gets approved, so we know how big our program can be. And we also have dedicated mentors. So we have associates that have retired from doing mainframe work that are brought back on a part-time basis, that are focusing on just doing mentoring participants in our Mainframe Academy. So we also have mentors that are part of, doing the job and being part of the team, and I'll get into that in a second. But we do have retired, associates that are just doing mentorship for our program. Now, from a training framework perspective, so where does the training come from? How do we go about training associates? So we have virtual courses that are focused on technical skills, so mainframe skills that are necessary for all mainframe technical associates. But we also have coursework that has to do with business processes, material. So you really need to understand from a technical foundation perspective. So be successful in a business world. It's not just about technical skills. You need to understand business processes, ITSM, incident request change. You're in a business environment. We also need to have training around soft skills like communication, project management. So we really want to have our associates have a well-rounded education foundation to not only have the technical skills, but also have and develop some of the business and soft skills as well. We also have the need for mainframe training environment. So we have a mainframe environment, a mainframe processor with LPARs that have been set up with the sole purpose of being a training lab that we can do exercises. So of course we need to allow people to have a place to train, and if they cause a problem, it's not a problem. So we have mainframe environments that are set up with different versions of the operating system, different versions of security. Our teams have put together lab exercises for their teams so the associates can go through lab exercises. So we do have a mainframe environment dedicated to training. We also have a lot of partnerships. So there's vendor provided training. There's webinars. There's everyone that's doing mainframe support. There's kind of a big ecosystem out there on Sono is not the only organization, obviously, that needs to do mainframe training. So being and having good partnerships with other organizations and sharing best practices on how training programs are set up, how to share training material. So that's really, really important for us to be part of that, training of mainframe within our industry. Next thing is really an important part as well is, and I'll get into kind of how we move people through our program, but we really need a commitment from our current team. So we have associates that go through a mainframe internship, they get into the Mainframe Academy program to get their foundational training, but then we place them on a team. And we want to make sure that when they get placed on a team, they can actually do work on that team with that team and that leader, so that, you know, they can determine if that's a good starting place for them to be continue their career. So we really need to have a commitment from the team itself, for the leaders and from the associates on the team. So we're not going to place someone on a team and to continue their mainframe training unless we have that strong commitment from the team. They have their, you know, everybody's very, very busy, and being able to carve out the time and give someone good productive work to do while they're on the team is really critical. So we have some really, not stringent, but we have regular meetings between our Mainframe Academy leaders and the leaders that are on the team that Mainframe Academy associates placed on. We get kind of a continuous loop back circle on how they're doing, what type of training. There's also good recommendations on how we build out our program from the leaders of that team. We also have to have technical mentorship. So we have mentors that are, you know, that are kind of, they work across all the teams, but then we also have specific mentors that are currently doing the job. So that is really critical to have that, you know, one-on-one training with a experienced technician, with someone that's just learning. And like I said, we really need to have a commitment. So if a team just basically says that I am just too busy to bring on and have a Mainframe Academy person join our team, then there's all kinds of teams that love to have someone that is going to be joining their team. So we just need to make sure that there's a commitment there. So Claire, any comments?
Yeah, I mean, I guess just to re-emphasize that point of it's not just for the team, making sure that the team are going to give that commitment, so that they don't feel like putting that new graduate, just put them in the corner, like we don't have the time to train them or give them the work to do. That's not good for either the team or the associate, because you think you're the new person, you've just graduated from the program, you're keen, you want to do something, be helpful, and then the team that you've been put on just kind of ignores you or makes you make the coffee. Well, then you're not going to feel included or useful. And why would that person then continue their career in the mainframe environment? That they're not going to. Like, imposter syndrome will sneak in as well, and you really want to help that new associate feel productive and be included as part of that team. The team will need that new investment of just new people. How many teams are screaming out for headcount everywhere? All of them. But there does need to be that commitment of just taking a little bit of time away from the BAU to ensure that new associate is included and is brought up to productive speed as quickly as possible, for the benefit of that associate and the team. So I just wanted to kind of re-emphasize that. But that was really good. Move on.
Okay, so entry points so how do we find and bring in associates into our Mainframe Academy program? So in the US, we have a yearly college internship program. So it's a 12-week paid internship. So they go through the training program. We start them from the beginning, and we're using the training as an evaluation tool, and we're also letting the interns get a good glimpse into mainframe. We're assuming that they have very little, if no, mainframe experience, but we typically are bringing in associates that are in an IT type of a program, a computer science type program, an MIS type program. So those are the associates that are brought into our program. And those that are coming in, we go through the program to 12 weeks. There's evaluations along the way. There's like test results, stuff like that. We're really looking to see, what sort of a technical path the associate wants to take. So we have technical roles that are coming out of out of the internship program in the Mainframe Academy. We also have project management roles. So at the end of the conclusion of the internship program, we will hire an intern into Insono. We either hire them as a full-time associate that are being hired into Mainframe Academy. If we have some really high potential students that have not graduated yet, we'll hire them as a part-time associate, allow them to complete their college degree, and then they come work for us full-time. So that's one of the entry spots. We also started something I'm really excited about. We started a fast track program 3 years ago. And so what this is intended to do is find those in the industry that are not necessarily supporting Mainframe, but would like to. So these are associates that are, they have IT experience, they have business experience, they've been, out of college working. We also, military is a great place to bring in fast track programs. So these associates are hired directly in the Mainframe Academy. So they become full-time Insono associates. So our idea with bringing experienced people, like I said before, was we have both technical skills, but we also have to talk about business skills and soft skills. But most of these associates will have some of those skill sets. So we are really expecting and have found that these associates go accelerated through our Mainframe training program. So they're up to speed much quicker than an intern is, because they just have that experience and they're just a little bit more mature associates coming in. So we do have a fast track program. We also have internal promotions. So we want to make sure that there's opportunities within our organization for those that want to advance their career. So a lot of times we'll have associates that, for example, that are part of, let's say, what we call our Mainframe operations area, that want to get into a more technical role, want to get in from a technical role into, let's say, a project management role. So we do have internal promotions. So we always want to make sure that we promote from within for anybody that has got high potential and aspiration to get into a more technical role. What we usually do with these is they start training, taking on the material. So we carve out time to allow that associate to perform, do training while they're in their current job. And if it really is a good fit, not only are the training seems, they have the aptitude, they have the interest. We identify those candidates and then have a transition period between the leaders on how we can bring that associate in the Mainframe program and have a backfill process in place for that. So that's the entry point into it. Claire, any questions or just move on? That one's pretty straightforward. Okay, so let's talk about the program. So how do we go about training? So what we call level 1, 2, and 3, track A, B, or C. We have different names for it, but really what we're trying to emphasize here is we have an area that we consider our beginning training, or just someone that is coming in. So for example, our college interns will be they'll come in. The college intern program is really starting in level 1. So this is 9 to 12 weeks, and this is really the introductory coursework. So it's the type of training that we believe everyone that's in Mainframe has to do. So logging on TSO, JCL, Rex, those types of skill sets that, that everybody needs to know. We also go through what we had talked, said soft skills, business skills. So that's part of the training as well. But the key part of level 1, and it's something we've learned over time, is we want to be able to go from level 1 and when we go into level 2, we're kind of making a designation on where we want to place that associate. So if you look at all the different skill sets and jobs in the industry, so you could ZOS system program, DB2, storage, network, all the different skill sets and job functions within the industry, we're kind of evaluating interest, aptitude, and where do they want to continue their career? Where do they have the most interest? Where do they have the most aptitude? We also talk about where do we have the most need, but we have need across all teams. So we really are more about aptitude and interest and being able to place them on a team. So at the end of this first level, we do an evaluation. So our Mainframe Academy leaders will have a conversation with the operational leaders that would like to get a Mainframe Academy associate placed on their team. So what we'll do then is have that evaluation and decide what specific job function or skill set do they go into. So are they going to become a ZOS person or a DB2 person or a storage person, for example? So our level 2 training is now the more advanced training that is specific to the technology that we would like to place them in. So it's everything, and now we're getting more specific by specific skill set. So this is 2 to 3 months, and we're going to get, in deep the best we can with the coursework and the exercises we have available to get into technology specific training. And we also are doing some shadowing, reverse shadowing. So they start to get small assignments within the Mainframe Academy program that are related to the technology that we're going to plan to place them in. And then after that program, after that foundation is there, and Claire already had mentioned this, we really want to make sure there's a good solid technical foundation before we actually have someone placed on a team, because level 3 comes into, they are actually placed on the team that we'd like to make a permanent assignment for. The idea would be is let's have them join the team. Let's be a functioning member of the team. Let's make sure that they really, they don't know for sure how it's going to be until they're on the team. They have the technical foundation, they have the training, but we really want to see how the inner workings of the team, the type of work they're doing. So they get placed on the team as a member of the team. And really, this is an evaluation period. And quite honestly, as we evolve the program, we haven't had anybody that has made it to level 3 on a team that didn't end up being placed permanently on the team. But this is kind of there as kind of a safety valve or a checkpoint, just to be sure that we don't place somebody permanently on a team. It's easier to have them go back into Mainframe Academy and then be replaced onto a different team than have them we want to set them up for success. So they're on the team for 3 to 4 months, doing work on the team, working with the existing members. And it's kind of an evaluation where when they're done with this part of the program, we'll sit down. And again, there's constant feedback between our Mainframe Academy leaders and leaders of the team. But this is kind of a final evaluation that this is really a good fit for the associate on the team, and it gives us a chance to make adjustments. Serena, is there a question?
Yes, there is a question. Thank you, Mike. So we've got a question that says, hi, useful session, thank you. Is your level 1 and 2 training virtual or in person?
It is actually both. We're in a virtual world now, right? Especially with COVID and stuff like that. So we do want to have virtual training. So we have training set up with training courses. We have a training vendor that's got technical courses, but we also have training where they're on site with a person. So it is a combination of both. It depends on the person, if they're in the geographic region where our technical team is located. Like, for example, we have a corporate headquarters in Downers Grove, Illinois. So if that associate's going through Mainframe Academy is in the Downers Grove area, they'll come into the office, or our area down in Conway, Arkansas. So it really is both. I would say, it's as they get through the training in level 1 and 2, that's a combination of both types of training, both ways.
I would also say that obviously with the pandemic, that's really helped accelerate some of that virtual training though as well, and being able to accommodate associates in a more geographically dispersed area, right, Mike?
Yeah. So when we, in the early stages of our program, we had our interns on site in our Conway, Arkansas location. And we also have an office, a data center in Omaha. So then the program extended into, 2 different spots in Downers Grove. So we had 3 different spots. We wanted our associates on site. Then when the pandemic hit, that, kind of opened it up to be a nationwide type of a program, just because no one was going into the office, so it didn't make sense. But yeah, it is now a nationwide program. It started out being kind of regional, based on where our offices were located, but we're finding some really great candidates. When you widen your search of candidates, you have much better candidate pool and a lot better qualified candidates to come into the program.
Yeah, absolutely. I think as well, on a slightly different note, going back to what you were talking about with the 3 different levels of the training here. One of the reasons why we think it's so important to have that level 1 and level 2 foundational training before the individual is put into a team is there is so much just kind of general knowledge that a new entrant would need to get, even to be able to follow a conversation within the mainframe space, right? So we wouldn't want to put that new associate with 0 knowledge, having not had a conversation about mainframe before, straight into one of our technical teams, because it would be such an overwhelming experience for them. So by being part of the Mainframe Academy training program dedicated for level 1 and 2, it really gives them that good foundational knowledge of just understanding the basics, being able to follow the conversation of what's going on before then being assigned to a team, and that helps both the associate and the team they're assigned to as well, so that team doesn't necessarily have to teach them the vocabulary of that environment as well.
Yeah, we've had a lot of feedback from our leaders, certain areas that they felt that from a foundational training perspective, we needed to beef up that part of level 1 and 2, for example, JCL. So we really have evolved that part of the course to be sure that there are certain skill sets from a foundational basis that the associates, before they get placed on a team or in level 3, that we've had to do. So it's been really important part of the program to evolve it over time with that feedback loop. So any other questions, Serena, on the chat before we move on?
Not at the moment. I will raise my hand next
when
there are more questions.
Great, thanks. All right, so we'll move on. So I'm just going into a little bit on what we think are the 3 key things that make our Mainframe Academy so successful, and also if other organizations are looking to build their own, even a smaller training program, what do we think are the most important things to make that a success? And the first one really is about the people, and that's not just the recruitment of the individuals who are going to be part of that. So although that is an important aspect, making sure that it's the right people who already have an interest in that area and show that aptitude, it's actually a lot around the support network. So having people who are dedicated to working with the Mainframe Academy, as Mike said, when it started up, there were people who were allocated some of their time. So they were working with the Mainframe Academy alongside another job role. Well, actually, that we see as not ideal, because the focus can be pulled away from that training program. So having people who are dedicated to that, I think, is really important, and making sure you have the right level of sponsorship within the organization. As Mike said, we've got an SVP that is working on Mainframe Academy and is the sponsor for that. If you're just trying to do it yourself with no leadership support, it can be a real struggle. And part of that comes down to budget and commitment, and knowing that it's a continuous task as well. That people piece also leads into the partnerships, and that's internal and external. So for us, the partnerships with the BAU teams that the associates are going to get placed into, that's really important, because it keeps that line of communication open, so that if an associate moves into a team and that team feels that they're missing key areas of knowledge or experience, well, that feedback loop can mean that the next iteration of graduates can maybe focus on that area instead. But also the partnerships externally as well, so with our vendors and with other training providers, so that we don't have to create every single learning lab from scratch. Well, we're a large ecosystem here, and no one needs to reinvent the wheel, right? So if we're able to have those good partnerships, it really makes it easier for us to develop and create and maintain that program. Also, key thing is that it is a continuous improvement program. You can't just set it up once and just be done with it, and that will be fit for purpose in perpetuity. As I said, as the associates go through the program, graduate, move on to the teams, there's that feedback loop from the team leaders, from the team themselves, and from the new associates back into the program on, well, what worked well, what didn't work well, areas to improve on, but also not just from kind of that BAU standpoint, but as the technology and the industry moves forward, there's going to be new areas that will need to be included in part of the program as well. As new teams are set up to address new challenges just from the technology perspective, then there needs to be a reevaluation on the academy as well. So we'll be adding new functional areas into there as well. Any other comments there, Mike?
No, you're absolutely right. I think the key part here is continuously looking at the program and how do we make it better. We've made a lot of changes over time that we've been really happy with the results of it. But like Claire said, it's looking at the mainframe in the IT estate or the ecosystem. It is evolving, and we as an industry need to look ahead and be able to understand what technologies are coming, and there's a turnaround time to get people trained and get people able to do those jobs. So being able to see those things in the future, be able to develop the curriculum, add that type of training and skill set development into the industry is really critical for us, not only as a program, but as an industry, to be able to build out those types of associates and have those skill sets part of it. And Sreen, I think you had a question out in the audience.
I think Claire has indicated one more slide, and that question will be responded to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I mean, those are things that we think are going to be needed to create a successful training program. And yeah, hopefully in the next slide, I'll answer your question as well. As we look to the future, we know that as we said, the industry and the technology is continually evolving as the mainframe becomes more more modernized and looking to integrate with other areas of IT, then there's new technical requirements in there as well. And that means that there needs to be training done on those areas. You can't just assume that people will pick up on that. So you're looking at that integration, modernization. We're also seeing within our clients is they're looking for some more automation and for things to be more intuitive. So anything to do with DevOps or self-service. I mean, they're conversations today with clients, but those conversations will quickly turn into actions and requirements, and therefore having the skills and experience in those areas are becoming key. So we're obviously looking to upskill existing experienced teams to be able to accommodate these new items, but alongside that, including some of that as part of the Mainframe Academy training program as well. Also, as we know, no one here has got a crystal ball, so we don't know what the future holds, but as new technology and business processes, business requirements come to the fore, there will be new roles and opportunities that we're just totally unaware of today. But that means that we need to keep our ear to the ground so that we are prepared for when they arise, and make sure that the appropriate training is available for people. Hopefully, Ian, that has helped answer your question. And Mike, anything else to add here? You're on mute.
I want the whole meeting saying that, so sorry about that. No, I really think you're right. I think there's going to be the need for integration between mainframe and other platforms, and that is something that is going to be kind of a different type of mainframe resource. We also look at you look at how the environment is changing for existing services. So, for example, ZOSMF and the emphasis doing that to install new versions of the operating system and DB2. So there will be changes in the way that system programmers perform their jobs than had been traditionally. So we need to be able to bring up those new skill sets. But there's also a brand new type of services that a mainframe person fitting into a diverse ecosystem needs to be able to serve. And I kind of think of it as someone that kind of is understanding mainframe and understands cloud and be able to bridge the gap between those two platforms. So some of the integration, some of the security. So we're going to have to see those new skill sets and those new experiences and be able to train for that going forward. So I think the unknown future is really saying we constantly are seeing changes. So we need to acknowledge that's part of our plan, and we're never going to be able just to be sitting still with evolving our program. So it's going to constantly evolve over time, and we just need to be looking ahead, deciding what needs to be integrated into the program, and just always be aware of that as a need in a training program. It's never going to be stable or stale. It's going to constantly have to be evolve. So
absolutely. And that pretty much brings us to the end of the technical part. So if anyone's got any additional questions, either raise your hand, stick it in the chat, we can answer it now.
So Joris here, Claire and Mike, one question from my side, and let me say I love the presentation. I love the fact that I see that there's a lot going on with skills and engagement of new people, which is also a bit of my territory. So every partner in crime is very welcome, especially on this side of the sea. Question from my side: if the audience have additional questions to you, if they want to have more information, there we go.
Absolutely. I was just opening the floor for any additional questions at this time. But if people don't feel like they want to talk today, but have something come up later, absolutely feel free to contact either myself or Mike, or our global director of Mainframe Academy, Katie Branch, wanted to make sure that her contact information was up here as well. If you've got any questions, to direct them to her either. So we're all very happy to continue this conversation if anyone's got any questions or just wants to talk about it. So yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great. Not sure if there is any question from anyone in the audience. I'm just monitoring the chat, but I think everybody.
All right. Well, yeah, it seems like that's it. So just to kind of close off, we'd just like to say that one of our colleagues is also presenting tomorrow morning. Linda's going to be presenting on application migration workload impacts tomorrow, so that should be an interesting one. I sat through that in person in November. It was very interesting. But also, I think, Boris, you'll be interested in this slide, which is the session feedback.
Yes, absolutely. And that's the question from my side, which I would like to use as a closure. On the bottom of the session, there's the possibility to provide feedback of the session. Session number is 1A. There is an QR code embedded as well here. So please let us know what you think of this session, so we can always make the sessions as interested as possible. And I guess that is it, unless any one of you have a last questions. And otherwise, I would like to thank you very much for your time attending this session. And of course, I would like to thank the speakers of today for the sessions to share this knowledge with us. And with that, I will close the session.
Ian's got his hand up.
Oh, Ian, yes, go ahead. Let me see. Oh, no, that's a clap one. That's a clap one. No, that's not a question.
Oh well.
Okay, then thank you very much for joining this session. Again, don't forget to provide the feedback. Interesting session tomorrow. So, and of course, we have a lot of other things going on today as well. So thank you very much for joining, and have a great day and have a great GSC session.